Hey there, this is Sudeep for Visual Arts Taylor and welcome back to another very exciting After Effects tutorial. Today we are gonna take a look at creating some cool 3D volumetric light inside of After Effects. So let's jump right in. So first of all, create a new comp. Let's rename it to volumetric and I will set the duration to 10 seconds. Hit OK. Now I will create a new text. Let's say light, and now I'll create a gray solid and just name it to flow, put it below and select the text layer, make a pre-comp to text, press OK, make both of them 3D, select the flow, press R, then rotate it to x-axis -90, and now I'll move it down along the z-axis a little bit and scale it up. This is good. Now I'll create a new camera. 28mm would be okay. Uncheck lock to zoom, move it above. Now I will create another solid, this time a black one for the background, and I will leave it as 2D. Now it's time to create a light. Let's create a point light and I'll move it along the z-axis, select the text precomp, press AA and turn on the cast shadow. Now I'll select the flow and I'll move it down a little bit, up the intensity a little bit high for the light, and I will reposition it to get a good result. Now select the point light, press AA and shadow diffusion is 70. Let's change it to 35 or so. Let's keep it to 40. Now you can see that the shadow looks a little bit softer. Now at this point, before going to any further, let's go to render option and I will down it to 500. It's gonna make the resolution a little bit lower, but it will make the rendering process a little bit faster. So now let's create a volumetric light. Create a new solid. This time I will add a white solid and let's change it to light source. Hit OK and go to ellipse tool and create a circle, pressing shift Ctrl Alt and drag it. Cool. Now let's make it 3D and press AA, selecting the light source layer. Turn off accept lights. Now I will move it back a little bit further to the z-axis. Let's change the camera angle a little bit. Okay, so that's how we create the volumetric light. Now we are gonna add an adjustment layer. Let's say volume. Okay, now go to effect and presets and search for CC radial fast blur and put it into it. Let's change the zoom to brightest and add amount a little bit higher. Okay, so we got the basic light effect. Now to make it look 3D, what we want to do is create a new null object, and we want the null object to be a 3D point. So we call this point, and it's important that this 3D point is pushed back in the z-axis. So let's turn it into 3D and then push it back to the z-axis. We're gonna push it way back behind the actual light source. Okay, now keep it in mind that this volumetric light is not working yet right now. So what we're gonna do is take our volume light radial fast blur effect, and we are going to add an expression to the center by pressing Alt click left mouse button on the stopwatch, and then we are going to take the pick whip and select that point layer that we just created. Now before we hit anything, we are going to type a quick expression. It is dot to com open parenthesis open square bracket open square bracket 0 comma 0 comma 0, and that's it. Now this expression basically turns that 3D point into a 2D position for the radial fast blur effect. There's one last thing we have to do. Just come over to effects and choose color correction curves and put this before the radial fast blur, and what we want to do is compress the range so that we only see the brightest pixel. So that's it. So now if we take the camera tool and move this around, we have some volumetric light, but here is one small problem. We can't see anything else. Well, here's the cool trick. If we take that layer and change the color mode to screen, we have now composited the light back over the top of our title. So we can increase the amount, we can add some color correction. So you could come in here and let's say a curve. So that's it. We have created this nice looking volumetric light effect. So now we'll get into polishing it a little bit more, but let me show you a few ways to control this. So if we take the point that we created earlier, if we take it closer, it will make the beam a little bit wider, and if we move it really far away from the light source, it will make it more tighter. So this will also affect how it looks when the camera goes from side to side. Now let's go ahead and polish this effect a little bit more. Okay, so let's go and add a fractal noise. So we'll create a new solid and then go to effects and preset and type in fractal noise, and here it is under noise and grain, fractal noise. Just drop that out and select the fractal type to dynamic. Soft linear is good. Let's go to subsetting and change the subscaling. Let's create a mask. Select the ellipse tool and then mask it. Now press F and add a little bit of feather. Now go to effect control and go to channel, add solid composite and change the color to black. Now change the blending mode for the fractal noise to none, and let's change the subscaling to around 58 and change the subrotation to here at 142. It looks kind of fiery looking, and this is good. Now we will add a curve effect to make some color correction. It looks good. Now change it to screen. Now make it 3D. Press AA. Change the accept lights to off, and then move it back a little bit. Let's set the camera, and now change the flow blending mode to screen also. Let's change the solid name to fractal noise. Let's down the brightness of the fractal noise, and now duplicate it once again, move it back a little bit further, and just scale it up a little bit. Yes, I have to scale it from here too. Yes, that's good. And also scale the transform to make it a little bit softer, and now push it back along the z-axis. Okay, so that looks very cool. Now maybe we can do something better to make the title look a little bit more readable. So let's just duplicate the text and put it above the lighting, and now press AA. Don't cast shadow, don't accept light, and just make it a little bit more darker. It looks good. Now one thing we have to do, we have to add a bevel alpha in it, and just increase the light intensity a little bit and change the light direction to somewhere like this. 48 degree is good, and let's give it a little bit of depth. Duplicate it once again, and let's select the bottom layer and move it further along the z-axis just a little bit. Now change the light direction, and let's change its position a little bit. Select the light source and move it a little bit closer to the text. Select the point and drag it down close to the light source, and now move it closer to the light, so it will cast a wider beam. Now I will select those text layer and change them to screen, and let's take the light text and make it completely dark. Yes, it looks good. And now from here I will try to tweak all the attributes of the text layer, basically the bevel edge and the light angle and so on, and also going to modify the fractal noise brightness and all the stuff just to make it look more satisfying. So let me do it, and I'll meet just after that. Okay, so here we are back again. Let's move the floor a little bit higher, and now I will create another adjustment layer at the top and create another curve, and then I will create another curve to create an overall color correction for the composition. And one thing before ending this part of the lesson, you can simply go to fractal noise and create animation for the evolution. It will looks really dynamic if you create an effect for the fog. So one thing you can do, just press alt left mouse button, click on the stopwatch for the evolution to create little expression. Type time multiply 150. I guess that would be enough, and you can also copy and paste it to the second one. Let's play and see how it looks like. And one thing I almost forgot to mention, that before creating the RAM preview, we should check the render option back to com size to set it back to its highest render quality. And that's it. Now I will create the RAM preview and see you at the end. So that's the basic idea of this effect. If you guys want to see how it looks like if you put it in a live action footage, please write it down in the comment section. And if you guys want to download the template, I'm leaving a link in the description. But I will highly recommend you to create it on your own, because this is kind of advanced level project. So if you practice it on your own, you can surely apply it in any composition like asteroid belt or any jungle environment, volumetric light, or so many ways. So that's it. Keep practicing and don't forget to like and share this video. And for the new viewers, please do subscribe. I can see that around 70% of you guys are not subscribed. Please do it. It's free and it's also helped me to get a lot of motivation from you. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.